Hello! Today, this group is going to be continuing to broaden their understanding on the story of Ye Shen, a Cinderella story from China, as retold by Eileen Louie and illustrated by Ed Young. I have my physical sample of the book here behind me, and today this group is going to be playing a board game that's going to ask you questions from the story to help you deeper your understanding and make sure that you really comprehend the story. So here are your center instructions. So the first thing you should do is get your dice, get your game board, and find your game pieces that you're going to use for everyone in your group to be able to identify themselves on the game board. So I have an example on the screen of the type of die that you should be using. This is a four-sided die, which means that whatever number is on the point that is sticking up is the number that you rolled and how many spaces you're going to move forward. So to begin with, your group is going to spread out your board, get your die ready, and choose your pieces for each person in the group. You're then going to play rock, paper, scissors. You just go 1, 2, 3, go with all of your classmates until one person is left standing and that person gets to go first. After that, it goes clockwise around the table. Each turn, whoever's turn it is, will roll the die, move your player piece that many spaces forward, and then answer the question that is on the square that you have landed on. If you answer the question incorrectly, you have to take back your turn and move back to the space you're originally at. If you get it correctly, you get 1 point and it moves on to the next player. So if you get it wrong, the group will decide as a whole what the answer should have been so that you're still getting the answers to each question and you are still learning. And you can use the book to find the answers if you're not exactly sure. The whole group can look in the book together and find the answer before moving on. If you land on a space that tells you to go back a certain number of spaces, just go back the number of spaces that it tells you to on that space. So whoever makes it to the winner space first at the end of the board will win the game and will receive a prize. So do your best to try and earn as many points as possible, and whoever gets the most points by winning the most times will get a prize. So go ahead and play your board game until the last 5 minutes of class, and then I will give you instructions for the end of your activity. Alright, now that you've played your board game, who got the most points? Alright, that's really great. I'll give you your reward at the end of class, but for now, go ahead and push your board game to the side, push all your materials to the side, and give yourself space so you can write a 3-sentence summary based on what you already knew about the story and what you learned by playing the board game. Make sure that you include the moral, which is the lesson in the story, towards the end of your summary. So these activities relate to the standard by forcing the students to recount the story. You can see the game board right here ask questions such as what was the climax, who is the author of the story, and what happened at the beginning and ends of the story. So this kind of forces students in a roundabout way to retell the events of the story. And I also have the standard of demonstrating command of the conventions of standard English, capitalization, punctuation, and spelling when writing, which is addressed in the grammar part of writing the summary in this activity. Also, students are forced to determine the central message, lesson, or moral, both in a question that is on the game board, as well as addressing that part of the standard in their summaries. This is good for medium level learners because it's something that is it's a lot of review, just in case these students still have a bit of trouble with their comprehension. It has them writing and doing multiple different things with the information, which can help reinforce that information in their minds. So for example, they are reading about it by looking in the book to find answers. They are talking about it by telling their answers to the students around them. They are writing about the information from the book in their summaries, and they are looking at the information and listening to the information from their other classmates. So some of the outside sources I used to come up with this activity were from the book. So on page 47, it talks about how really good teachers make activities that are engaging and make students motivated and that encourage a positive attitude in the classroom. These kinds of games and these cooperative activities often get students to be pretty excited. They make students engaged and motivated, and they make them want to learn about the subject. On page 53 of our textbook, it explains that summarization is a key part of comprehension. So having the students summarize at the end not only gives them another form of interacting with the information, but it is also a proven comprehension strategy. There is this article I found online. This article was a short study that was done. They interviewed a lot of middle school and high school students to find out what made them engaged and motivated in the classroom, as well as what made them non-motivated in the classroom. So it was proven from this study that students do enjoy group activities. These type of activities encourage academic and social development, which you can see here on page 7. On page 8, it goes on to explain that students quoted fun stuff like the game involved in this activity as being more memorable, or things that they could remember the information better, they could go back and retrieve it out of their mind. They could say, oh, wait, I landed on this space and I had to tell the class about what I saw happened at the end of the story. So they can more easily pull that information out of their minds because it's more fun and memorable to them. It is also proven from the interviews that reviewing and making learning fun is more effective in helping students comprehend the information. So I also have my rubric right here. So my rubric has 5 categories, and for each category, students can score up to 20 points, making a total of up to 100 points. The categories are respect, participation, summary, grammar, and following instructions. In particular, the participation and summary sections are for our main standard about recounting stories and identifying the central message. So in the board game, students will be inherently retelling the story and identifying the moral in one of the questions. And in the summary, they are directly kind of retelling the story and identifying the message of the story. The grammar section is for our secondary standard, which is demonstrating command of the conventions of standard English. So they're going to be graded from that one on how many grammatical errors they did or did not have in their summary. The respect section is particularly important for cooperative learning, which I really would like to utilize a lot in my classroom. I think cooperative learning, it holds accountability for all the students in the group, and you can still play games and do competitive activities without having all of those negative stereotypes that come along with competition in the classroom. And the following instructions part of my rubric is important, as I've explained previously, for lower elementary grade classrooms and all classrooms in general. Honestly, if you don't hold students accountable for properly reading, listening to, and following the instructions, they will cut corners. They might try to cheat, so making it a part of the grade just ensures that they will follow the instructions for the activity.